Hello, let me introduce myself. Introduction. My name Almer Muhammad Duta Celesta. Civic education. 7 article analysis.
1. Article of pedagogical challenges in teaching civic education in secondary schools in Zambia, year article 2020.
Research problem. This study sought to establish the pedagogical challenges in the teaching of civic education in secondary schools in Zambia with a focus on the development and consolidation of education for democratic citizenship among the learners. Research result, findings and observations by the participating teachers in the study. Teacher training institutions need to train teacher of civic education in different approaches that will enable them once in schools to teach the subject effectively. Conclusion. In this study, an attempt has been made to establish the challenges in teaching of civic education in secondary schools in Zambia. The teaching of civic education in secondary schools in Zambia is marred with a number of challenges, and teachers of civic education therefore are required to be resourceful and innovative during their teaching and learning sessions. Suggestion for each article. The study of the article above is indeed not perfect, needs to be improved again. The lack of the article would be more useful if it provided specific example of how to develop the problem. 2 article of curriculum policy and practice of civic education in Zambia, a reflective perspective, year article 2020. Research problem. The chapter concludes by highlighting the key arguments about the curriculum policy and practice of civic education in Zambia. Research result. This article produces research that describes the contemporary revival of civic education in Zambia. Conclusion. Civic education in Zambia has now become one of the compulsory subjects in the school curriculum. Suggestions for each article. From this article is go that the use of words is improved again to make it easier to understand. The lack of the article will be easier to understand if the wording is better. 3 article of Pancasila as ideology and characteristic civic education in Indonesia, year article 2019. Research problem. This study is to prove that civic education in Indonesia is inseparable from the values of Pancasila. Conclusion. A good measure of citizens is of course strongly influenced by the national ideology of each country. Research result. The result proved that civic education must be in accordance with Pancasila values in all aspects of citizenship. Learning citizenship teachings, which are systematically. Suggestions for each article. This article is good, but there needs to be additions to add insight to readers. The lack of the article, lack of further study of the result of the article. For article of, I look deep into stuff because it's a part of me toward a critically relevant civics education. Year article 2019. Research problem. There are individual studies to consider how young people of color experienced and interpreted current forms of racialized injustice, how their school-based civic instruction intersected with these experiences, and where they turned to explore these dilemmas. Research result. Investigated if and how young people's ideas about race, class, and social change developed or changed over time in YPAR. Conclusion. This article corroborates what many scholars, parents, Black and Latinx youth have long reported, at young of color feel that they are subject to rote, uncritical, and irrelevant pedagogical renderings of civics and history education. Suggestions for each article. This article is good. Research and sources are maximized. It would be nice to have a little percentage of the population who have their own group or race. The lack of the article. This article is still not at a perfect stage because there are still word processing that cannot be understood. 5 article of civic education and the rise of populist nationalism, year article 2019. Research problem. Conduct research on the importance of civic education. Research result. In this article, we get the result of research in highlighting the characteristics and high-quality democratic citizenship Education programs. Conclusion. Aims to make people to think of themselves as active citizens, willing, able, and equipped to have an influence in public life and with the critical capacities. Suggestions for each article. This article is still not perfect. There is still no good solution for this problem. The lack of the article. It would be nice if there were additional solutions to problems that are currently being researched. 6. Article of Implementation, Parental Involvement in Learning Civic Education Year 2020. Research problem. This study attempts to provide an alternative means of implementing parental involvement in civic education learning. Research result, supporting civic education learning programs to help civic education teachers, including inviting other parents to care for and support learning programs, collecting parental potential data that can be used to support civic education, conduct joint supervision of the sustainability of the program. Conclusion. Parental involvement in learning civic education is very important, considering that civic education is a part of moral education, which is responsible for preparing students to become good citizens. Suggestion for each article. This research is good, but it would be nice to add a little survey in order to find out the shortcomings of the research. The lack of the article. The article is quite good, but there are still deficiencies in the problem survey. 7. Article of The Implications of Ideology on Teacher Belief Regarding Civic Education Year Article 2019. Research problem. This study analyzes data from middle and high school teachers in Missouri to determine their civic education ideology across conservative, liberal, or critical notions within the United States context. Research result. Educators and policymakers focused on civic education ought to consider different contexts and various influences that affect how civic education ideologies are formed and how they can impact classroom practices. Conclusion. The implication of ideology on teachers' belief regarding civic education are significant and can have a lasting impact on students. Civic education is essential for preparing students to become active and engaged citizens, and teachers play a crucial role in imparting these values to their students. Suggestion for each article. The article is almost perfect, but it would be nice to add a conclusion from the article. The lack of article. In addition to the lack of conclusions, this article still has words that are difficult to understand.